One thing I love about Verve is that it lets you relive your childhood and satisfy the kid in you. There are so many shows that I grew up with that I can rewatch on Verve, like Tom and Jerry, The Flintstones, Bugs Bunny, Nickelodeon shows like Keenan and Kel, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Are You Afraid of the Dark, The Jetsons, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Popeye, Scooby-Doo. The list goes on, and that's not even including all the anime that I grew up with as a teen. You've got to try Verve. 30 free days. The link is down below. Try it. I promise. If you are a child of the 80s and 90s, you will love it. And the 2000s. Check it out. Alright, so we're going to be discussing Goku's new energy grapple technique, his new key grapple technique that he used in Dragon Ball Super Broly. Now, this is not really a spoiler because we see this move in the trailer. However, we're going to go into what the move is, explain the move, and explain kind of the idea behind the move. But I want to let y'all know that it's not really a spoiler for the movie, but it is it's just one scene that's like literally just a few seconds, but there's so much in this new technique and where Goku could go with it, and maybe he'll use it against Jiren in their rematch. We talked about that recently as well, but we're going to talk about that, so I'm just letting y'all know that don't worry about spoilers, but we are going to talk about just one small scene. So if you consider that a spoiler, this is not the video for you, but I doubt it's a big deal because it really isn't. It's just one scene, but it's a cool scene. We're going to talk about it. So anyways, martial arts. Lots of it in Dragon Ball Super Broly. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the movie, it'll be out very, very soon where you live. I know it's already in some Asian countries. US and Canada get it January 16th. We're going to be discussing the move that Goku does where he goes Super Saiyan God in the movie and he sticks his arms out and they kind of light up and fire and he's able to freeze Broly in place, like stop him from moving. We're going to discuss that. Joining me to talk about this, martial artist extraordinaire, Dragon Ball historian, Ken Damu. Welcome back.
Hello. Here I am.
I feel like you're here every week and I'm okay with that. I'm all right with it.
I'm okay with it as long as you're okay with it and as long as your audience is okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Remember to check out Kendamu. Kendamu has a lot of videos about breaking down Dragon Ball fights and techniques, and there's a lot more coming. I'm hoping that you will in time, it'll take probably a few years, that you break down every single fight in Dragon Ball, because there's so many little things that I think people will love to kind of understand where Toriyama got his ideas from, whether it be actual martial arts or just like Jackie Chan movies. There's so much cool stuff in Dragon Ball that I don't think people really understand or appreciate, and I think you can bring that to light.
Yeah, and really the perspective that I bring to Dragon Ball comes from how Dragon Ball inspired me to get into martial arts in the first place, and I think it's about time that I actually really share that with a wider audience, and not just, among my friends or, a particular forum or a little bit of social media.
I will leave a link to the channel down below. So, in the movie, we're not going to spoil the movie, of course, but there's obviously Goku and Broly fight. If you didn't know that, come on. And so in the film, Goku keeps powering up and goes to Super Saiyan God, and he does a move where, like I said, he freezes Broly. Now, we've seen a similar version of this move when Frieza did it to Goku on Namek, where he froze him in like a red ball, and then he basically volleyballed him in a way. Obviously, Gotenks has kind of his version of the move, but it's not the same thing. His version is like more like an energy donut type thing, whereas Frieza just kind of freezes you into a big red ball. This Goku move where he froze Broly is similar to Frieza's, and that was in the manga and the anime, by the way, but not quite the same. So can you explain this technique? Because it's a brand new move we've never seen Goku use before.
Well, I have a couple of different interpretations of it that I'm kind of looking at and kind of putting back and forth and weighing and everything, and maybe they'll eventually sort of become one interpretation. But the first one I was looking at was, okay, in Dragon Ball, characters, they use their ki blasts and whatnot in the very same way that they would use in a super powerful punch or something like that, right? It's a way of striking a person from a distance. So why not grapple a person from a distance too? Because Goku's intent in that moment wasn't necessarily to destroy Broly or anything like that. Goku's intent in that moment was to hold Broly in place and calm him down, which I'm still a novice in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but all the times, well, both of the times, I don't want to say all the times, it makes it sound like I'm fighting people just randomly all the time, but both of the times that I have used jujitsu outside of the gym, it has been a situation where it's all like, okay, I need to hold this person in place and I need to get them to chill out.
Like because they're drunk or out of control.
Right, because they're drunk and being rowdy or something like that. And it's like, hey, this is not appreciated. Or, hey, this thing that you're trying to do to me right now, like, you are not in the right mind. You need to calm down. And that's really, that's how I've never used jujitsu to hurt anybody. But I have used it to, put someone on the ground, hold them in place, and go, hey, enough is enough. Chill out. Let's be friends. Right. And that's exactly what Goku was doing here. It was just with ki instead of with his hands.
Yeah. Now, also, there are similarities to the Mafuba, the evil containment wave, but it's not the same thing because we find out in this scene that Goku realizes that Broly is not evil. This version of Broly is not an evil version like the previous version. Now, you were saying that he used... Now, again, minor spoiler. He holds Broly. Broly eventually breaks out, and then Broly does the same thing to Goku because he's a damn prodigy like every other new character is in Dragon Ball. But then Goku does the move that I know popped you because I looked over at you in the movie theater when this happened, when we saw the movie in December. Talk about that. Okay. I don't know. I forget the name of the actual judo move, but you would know the name. It's awesome.
Okay, so he did it looked like a Seonage to me. I've only seen it once, so I'm not exactly sure how.
Yeah, Broly goes in for a punch, and Goku turns. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, he goes in for the punch. Goku, he gets the arm, and he does what looked like to me as a Seonage, which is a type of hip throw. Where you have a hold of the arm and you use, you get your hips under theirs and you bend to get leverage and you throw the person over you onto their back. That's Seonage. And there's also a drop version of it too where you can drop to your knees and get the same effect. Goku did the standing version. And with grappling, like for me, like I am not, the most muscular grappler out there, but a lot of the people a lot of the dudes that I roll with in the gym are way more muscular and stronger than me. Like I've got some muscle on me, but not like nearly as much as some of these dudes do.
But for BJJ, that evens the playing field.
It does. Unless, you're of even skill, then, conditioning and like your sort of your mental energy and everything going into it. All those things come into play if you have equal skill and all that. But with this, Goku is going up against somebody who's obviously stronger at this point. And Goku hasn't used all of his energy. He hasn't really unleashed himself yet, and neither is Broly. But where Broly's at is stronger than where Goku is at. So Goku, he uses mobility. He goes from A to B to C to D because he knows that in that moment he's not going to be able to take him head on. Also, again, it was with the grappling. He wasn't trying to do anything to like ultimately harm Broly right there. He was trying to just calm him down, get him to stop. And, jujitsu, judo, the ju in that is gentle. It's the gentle way. So that's kind of, as opposed to like punching him or kicking him or something like that. So that's really what we're looking at here. And also, something I kind of wanted to mention a minute ago is that in sort of Japanese terms, when it comes to judo and jujitsu and whatnot, there is sort of this concept of ki or flowing energy, how that works in jujitsu compared to say like a striking martial art. And the idea is that you're still, doing something to project ki through the arms and all that stuff, but it's for a different purpose. And in Dragon Ball, we know that when you project ki through the arms, it can go through space and do all kinds of stuff and destroy things and knock people over and whatnot. In this case, Goku's ki, which, was the same sort of like intention that someone might have in judo to hold your arm out, to hold someone down and to keep your posture up, that same intention was going through Goku's body, only just outward through space and holding Broly in place rather than having to use his hand.
Right, and I love how you said earlier about the skill set, because the one thing about the Broly movie is that Broly is insanely powerful, but he's not a martial artist. Goku and Vegeta both, especially Goku, who's had several masters throughout the series, he knows leverage moves. He knows techniques that Broly will never freaking know. Well, maybe, I mean, now he can learn, but I mean, he didn't know back then. Like teleportation, the Genki Dama, and all these judo moves. And I love that they're up against a guy who is stronger than them, but so they have to use their brains. And that's what I love about jiu-jitsu, is that if you're at a bar and you fight some guy who's twice your size, he might be stronger than you. Yes, he might be able to lift more than you, but if you know how to take him down, you will win that fight. And Royce Gracie proved that in the early UFCs when he was destroying guys who were 3 or 4 times his size. I
Right,
love
he was like
that about this.
130 something pounds or something like that, if I remember correctly. And then, you know, he's got all these huge dudes that he's just destroying. You know, jiu-jitsu just dominated the first like 3 or 4 UFCs before people actually started, you know, mixing their martial arts together for real.
Right, yeah. Back then it wasn't even called MMA. It was called No Holds Barred. I remember that.
No
for a
holds
while.
barred, yeah,
Yeah.
and like, and it was advertised as a style versus style thing, very similar to like
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 or whatever.
Yeah, no, it was. Now, there's a move in Super when Goku goes to attack Jiren in episode 109, and Jiren's eyes turn red, and he holds Goku in place and then does these super fast blows with his eyes. Is that similar to this? Because I feel like all these techniques have a similarity to them.
It's
The
similar.
freeze moves.
It's similar, and it kind of goes into what my other interpretation might have been of Goku's technique in this, but I'm leaning more toward the grappling technique with Goku here. But with Jiren, I consider that more like a very subtle feint in the realistic sense. In the realistic sense, like a feint can be anything from like a shout to a stomp to, you know, your body language, like a certain type of glare at someone to kind of get them to hesitate or whatever. And when you turn that up to 11, you get what happens in Kung Fu movies. And then when you take fantasy Kung Fu movies and you turn those up to like 200, you get Dragon Ball Super. So
Right, that's
So-
Dragon Ball. That's
so-
why we love it.
yeah, so Jiren right there, like in the realistic sense, like he is in very good control of his emotions and stuff like that, and he can use that, and he can use that body language to sort of cause an instinctual reaction out of a fighter to get them to hesitate for a moment, so that it gives you the opening for physical attack, which is how like a very subtle feint might work, like a half punch or something like that. Or, you know, I've had, for example, there was a time where some people were trying to fight me and a friend, and someone tried to like blindside me. And when they were running up on me, so like there was one guy, he was trying to hit me, and I was blocking him. And then like he backed off for a second. Another dude was running up to my left trying to blindside me. And when he did, I just stared him down. And like he
You
stopped
did
for
the
a second.
Jiren on him?
I stared him down. I wasn't even thinking about it. I just kind of went into ultra
Well,
instinct
you
for a
do
second.
have those frightening blue eyes, so I
Yeah,
can
and so I stared him down, and he stopped for a moment. And if you're a trained martial artist, whatever, you're a good fighter, anything like that,
Paddington
You-
does that.
you end up creating that opening so that you can obtain the advantage from there and win the fight. And that's what happened. So
If you had the nunchucks, you would have been screwed completely. You would have broken an elbow.
right.
Right. Okay, so one last thing. How do you compare this move to all the way back at the beginning of Dragon Ball in the Tenkaichi Budokai 21st, Jackie Chun, when he did that awesome move where he held Uzaru Goku in place with the lightning bolts? I don't remember the move right now off the top of my head, but I love that move. I see that as being almost the same thing, and we know that Roshi knows a whole bunch of stuff.
It's very similar, but I always felt that, you know, that electricity move could, like, if like Goku or Jiren or whoever like froze Bulma in place with the techniques they used in Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Super Broly, Bulma would just sit there. But I feel like if Roshi, the Turtle Hermit, had done the lightning bolts to Bulma, like Bulma would be fried. You know, that's
Wow.
kind of so I feel like it's a bit more of an offensive technique. But if somebody's strong enough, it pretty much does the same thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So let us know. Leave a comment, and I don't even know what I'm going to tell them to leave a comment, but I don't even know what they should comment about. Let us know what you think, I guess, about Goku's new technique. Do you think that this technique can work against somebody like Jiren? I mean, Broly broke out of it, so I'm pretty sure Jiren would just laugh at it. And don't even get me started on like Beerus, Whis, and anybody else. I don't think it'll work on them, but I do like the fact that it was a cool scene. I remember Sean Schemmel called me on the phone one day and was laughing and being so happy about Goku having this. Well, he described it as a Jedi mind trick, and I was like, really? Because I didn't know that about the movie at the time. He's like, yeah, he used the Jedi mind trick on Broly. I was like, interesting. And of course, the Force. A lot of that is based on martial arts and Eastern
Exactly.
philosophy. Yeah, it's all the same thing. So
It's the same flowing energy. It's the same mind-body connection.
Check out Kendamu's channel. I'll leave a link down below. And thanks for being here. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.